Tamar, you make it hard to love you, girl. What's up, guys? I'm Shanelle, and thank you for joining me on my channel and on my couch. Let's talk about Tamar Braxton Get Ya Life, episode 6, which is the finale and hopefully the end of this series forever, right? Because the way that this ended, yeah, they didn't have anything to work with. Like, you could tell how bad it was. They were fighting to put something together on the screen. But before we get into that, let's talk about some of the drama that's been happening this week. So, out of nowhere, Miss Toni Braxton posts a message to David calling him a weasel and all this nonsense. And apparently the tea was he said something about her children. Nobody saw it, but yeah, well, anyway, it set Miss Toni off, and you know Toni don't say anything about anything. So then Tawanda chimes in.
Yes, Toni is okay. She's just really pissed off at David, as we all are. We don't appreciate or, I guess, agree or condone the way that he's handling the situation. It's even deeper than you guys can even imagine. So,
y'all only know the surface of it.
That's it. So for Toni to even say something and to post it on social media, because you know she never does anything like that, you know he's gone way too far.
Yeah.
And you know, like she said, you don't involve the children. We don't care what happens or how we may disagree or agree to disagree. You never involve the children, and David went over the line when it comes to that. You know, so
somebody said, "Drop David's address, please."
I can't do that, but I would say,
yeah.
My words is that I believe that he's a loser boy, from the rooter to the tutor. And if I'm calling somebody a loser boy, I mean it.
Yeah, she mean that. She mean that.
Look, Kika Nunu said Toni is private, so I knew it had to be said.
And says that she's okay and gives her 2 cents. And then here comes Miss Tamar defending her boo David.
I really honestly appreciate my family, you know, all of a sudden speaking up for me, you know. I do appreciate that. And, you know, it's expected when you're going through a breakup for families, you know, to choose a side and have things to say. It's never positive. And I know nobody agrees with what, you know, David said on his live. I don't agree with what he said, you know. But I do feel compelled to say that it wasn't a terrible relationship. David was an amazing partner to me. He was an amazing stepdad to Logan. He wasn't a clout chaser. He wasn't trying to be on TV. He did everything on TV and showed up for me because I asked him to. I don't feel like majority of the things that are being said is warranted because, you know, what I went through this summer was very traumatic for both of us. And he was there for me every step of the way, even when most people were not. The people that I thought was going to show up did not show up. He showed up. And that's why I feel so compelled to say something now because, you know, as much as I understand everybody dragging him through the mud and saying what they need to say because of what he said on his live, the other part is still present too. And this is not me trying to get back with David or we working things out, because we're not. I haven't talked to him or seen him since August 30th. Just me on my journey. I just really want to do the right thing. And I'm sorry if I look ridiculous trying to do the right thing, but you know, unfortunately, this is a situation where nobody wins. We're in a legal dispute and things are blown out of proportion. And I just feel really bad for everybody, including myself. So I would just really like to heal private my story when I feel the need to tell my story. So everybody involved, thank you. I love you. But I would like to heal in private.
Yeah. I'm over her. Like, this is, at this point, it's just embarrassing. So anyway, this episode to me could be titled Read Between the Lines of All the Bullshit. So they start off in, I think it was David's apartment. They're cooking and having wine. Michael's trying to get from the two of them how their experience has been with the show so far. David says, they started off with hiccups with Homeboy, who I assume is Vince, coming in whenever he wanted to the house, which was an issue for him. And then saying that he felt that, it was very intrusive, having people in the house all the time. Tamar says that she's not sure if this has been like the best or the worst situation that she's ever been in within reality television. She doesn't know how she can trust because she feels like she ends up always being the villain. She thought that Mona Scott Young was the best person for her to collaborate with because they've both been villainized. And she wanted people to know, like, her message for the show was that there can always be another chance, and there's always room for her to win. I don't know if she had said this at this point, but her goal was to win. So then they start talking about Trina's upcoming nuptials. They're gonna go to her bachelorette party, and it's gonna be the first time that Tamar's been with the family as a whole since her niece had passed. So David in his confessional says that he feels he's seen Tamar really be there for her family members, and that he's seen them just not be there for her when she needs them. So he's gonna be there to be her rock. Don't that sound real sweet? He's real good at pretending. Anyway. So then they start talking about Goalie, and Tamar feels as though since this is her job, Goalie should have been able to explain that to David clearly. And if she wasn't able to do that, she should have been able to take some time and come back and help him to understand. And it just sounds to me as though all the time she didn't understand why David was behaving a certain way, all of a sudden she's coming to David's defense, and it's Goalie's fault. So she said that she felt bad because she didn't know how to make Goalie feel better, and that she started feeling like she was being pulled in two different directions, like on whose side she should be, and there was no sides. And all of a sudden David's like, there was no sides, like he didn't cause this whole entire drama. Then he says that all he has as his weapon is prayer, and that his family are prayer warriors, and his mother came and was praying, and now Goalie isn't here. But funnily enough, David, neither are you. You're not there either. Maybe prayer does work. So Tamar gets back from this bachelorette, and she's having lunch with her singing homeboy, James. And they talk about how lame the bachelorette party was. Apparently Tawanda did the whole thing, and it was like separate, and I guess it was dry, and it was too many penises or what have you. And she says that she feels like she doesn't want to do a whole big ring and have all that drama and all this. But this scene was very dry, lackluster. But it comes down to James asking Tamar if she's spoken to Goalie, or where's Goalie, and she was like, I don't know. And then she turns to Michael and is like, did you ask him to ask me that? And Michael has to defend himself, like, no, I didn't ask him to ask you anything. Like, you could tell, like, Tamar at this point is getting very paranoid as to who's encouraging certain questions. But there was a point where Goalie was with her all the time, so it's only fair that he would ask where Goalie is, unless he already knew. And that's why she was like, why are you asking me that? Maybe he was just trying to give her something entertaining since the scene was dry. So at this point, it seems like they're very much struggling to get Tamar to do anything on camera. It's been a fight throughout the whole project, but it's just gotten really worse because they've started filming Braxton Family Values as well, and it seems as though whatever drama is happening there is affecting Tamar's work over here, as well as the drama with Goalie. And so I guess she was supposed to come in and film a confessional, but she canceled at the last minute. So as they were packing up, they got word that she was coming, but she had to leave by 7 o'clock. This heifer showed up at 6:48 and had no makeup, nothing on, had her hat, said her little 2 words, and then was like, it's 7:01. If that's not disrespectful, oh, the level of, like, at this point, I'm just over you, Tamar. Like, it's like, this is the point where you just can't blame anybody else but yourself. Just seriously, it can't be everybody else's fault all the time. It just can't. When do you take responsibility for your actions? When? Because it was just like, ugh. So Mona goes to David's office to have a conversation with him about Tamar and to see how they can get her back on track, keep the show going. And he just kind of feels like, you know, there's a point where you just need to chill for your own sanity or what have you. And he said he's never seen Tamar in such a bad state than when the Iyanla Van Zandt situation happened and the wine country incident with Tracy. So they've, at this point, I think, did they come back from the wedding yet? They went to the wedding and he was really shocked at what he saw. So I guess Tracy was upset for some reason, and David wanted Tamar to talk to Tracy. For some reason, apparently, David says, Miss Tracy grabbed Tamar by the hair and bent her hand back. Like so she do. And he had to get in between and separate them. And he feels like in any situation where the two of them are together, he won't feel safe. I don't know why he was trying to make himself sound like a victim, but he feels like they would end up fighting. So whatever that is not good. And it's like, I don't know. Mona's asking why though, what was the reason? And I'd really love to know. So hopefully we will see, and they won't try and cut it out when Braxton Family Values starts back next week. And maybe we can get some more answers as to what's going on over there. But this is just feeling like these ladies just don't need to be on reality TV. Because if it's that bad, like, that's your sister. Why do you need to hit your sister like that? Now, I get Tamar does act like a victim all the time. She really does. So I can get, after a while, that can be frustrating. But at your sister's wedding, why are you behaving in such a manner? I don't like, Tracy need to get some class and grow the fuck up. So now, Tamar goes to Mona's office so that she can see some of the footage of what they've gotten so far. She's in full paranoia at this point. And Mona talks to her saying, like, you know, we haven't done a lot of the things that we talked about doing for your show. And she's like, well, what? Like what? Well, you know, we were talking about going through all your challenges with you and filming everything for the sake of the storyline. And she's asking for examples. So she brings up the whole goalie situation and things being taken into a private room. And Tamar's like, well, I didn't feel like those things needed to be a part of the storyline. And it's like, well, goalie ended up leaving. So clearly it did. Like, you're cutting people out of what's happening. And then she asks her about Tracy, and she just feels at this point like she washes her hands of the whole Tracy situation, like she can't help her. So then they go and start playing footage of the things that they caught, and, you know, Tamar is visibly annoyed by Kevin talking about the contract, like everybody is. Like, everyone's overhearing about this contract, and, you know, Tamar was a young girl. Like, what could she do about that whole situation? It is ridiculous. She's right. She's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But, you know, she stays there, watches the whole footage, makes all her faces. She's pissed or what have you. And then she has to go and do this exit interview. And she's just pissed. She's pissed at Michael. She feels like Michael has stabbed her in the back, and that the show has nothing to do with her. Like, she has no control in the show, and she does what she does best. She walks away, and then I guess she speaks to her lawyer, and her lawyer tells her to bring her ass back because she has contractual obligations. She gets her 2-minute speech and walks out the door. You know, David does his best to fill in when he can't fill in, but it's not, you know, it's not about David, it's about Tamar. But because she doesn't want to be bothered, they are left scrambling to put together a TV show. So I guess that's what they had to do. I think she's pissed because they had to focus on a lot of what would be considered behind the scenes drama. But if you're not participating in a show and they have a job to do, what do you expect? I think that Tamar is too busy playing victim instead of taking responsibility for the things that she creates in her life. And at this point, you know, for most of this, I really was just very much like, you know, got you, Tamar, support you, but like, and I still do support Tamar. It's like one of those people where they're just like, I feel bad saying this, but where Tracy said you make it hard to love you, I see where she's coming from. Whew. Ooh, I feel bad saying that, but it's true. Tamar, you make it hard to love you, girl. I'm gonna stay trying to pull the wool over our eyes with her narrative, and I see why now she got so upset, because she's not going to be, her and her relationship was not going to be able to hide behind that bullshit there. So, yeah, I think this time, I hope, you know, again, I've said this before, that she really is taking a look at herself and how disrespectful she really, like, I bet you any money she has an excuse for every time she was disrespectful to the people that was working in her home. I bet you anything. Like, there's just, where is the apology for being late, wasting people's time, treating them like they were beneath her bullshit boyfriend and his shit? I really struggled with even doing a review for this episode because I just felt like there was so little given and there was so much bullshit that was trying to be served on Tamar's part. And I'd love to know what you guys think about that. Do you feel like they did her dirty on the show, or do you feel like Tamar created this situation for herself? Besides that, please like and comment and subscribe, you guys. Like, let's keep this thing building and growing. I'm really grateful for everyone who has so far, and I'm getting used to this thing, and I might start drinking a little bit more if I gotta be dealing with. Anyway, so now that the show's finished, we'll be switching over to Braxton Family Values, and I'm looking forward to see how that shenanigan plays out. Thank you guys. Have a good night, and see you next time. Bye.